Okay, we have finished our yarn over section. The next part we are going to do is the seed stitch. Now I've already done several of the rows here, so you can see the texture it creates. All this is a mixture of the knit stitch and the purl stitch that you used to create your stockinette. So let me demonstrate. The hardest thing with this particular part of the pattern is to make sure you don't accidentally create a yarn over. So you always want to make sure your yarn is in the right position. It is simply one knit stitch, one purl stitch. So here I've already gone part way across. This was a purl stitch. So the next stitch will be a knit stitch. I move the yarn to the front and I do my purl stitch. Make sure the yarn is then in the back. Do my knit stitch. Move the yarn to the front and do my purl stitch. Now when I turn this over, I'm going to be knitting the purls and purling the knit stitches. So if you look closely, you can see that this is a knit stitch, and you can see this little bump. That shows that there's a little, if I can get it close enough for you, you can see this little bump right here. That's a purl stitch. This is a knit stitch. This is a purl stitch. So this row, I'm going to do the opposite of what was done before. So as I said, this was a knit stitch. So you are now going to start with a purl. So this one is going to be a purl stitch. Move your yarn to the back. The next would be knit. The next would be purl. And this is what creates the little bumps that give it some texture. Like I said, the hardest part of this is to just make sure that you have this particular yarn in the right position for that stitch. Make sure when you've done a purl stitch that you do move it to the back for your knit stitch, otherwise you will create a yarn over and that will result in a hole in your pattern. So you're going to continue this for a total of 6 rows, 3 rows up and back. And then we will be moving on to the cable stitch, which will be next.